Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Absorbed All Life from the Planet. Part 2 guys, remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was a genius prodigy with a lost bloodline. And enjoy that guys on this channel. Over in the making 3 I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was created from the god tree, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. And over in the making 2 I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was treated like Gara, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. If you're new, yes, I have 3 channels that I post What If on every single day. Yes, you heard that correctly. Every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family, and thank you for all of your help and support. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And yeah, without further ado, what do you say we just jump right into this guys? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Naruto was dying. Yes, it was plain and simply he was dying. After a gruesome battle with Sasuke, he had been pierced through the heart. He found himself in his mindscape as he walked around, confused. At first he didn't know where he was because the fox was not in here. Usually the fox was here, so he was not understanding what was going on. But he still made his way. It was then that he arrived to see a ruined place. To his shock, it was Konoha. It was then that he saw smoke on top of the monument, so he rushed towards the monument as fast as possible. Upon arriving up there, that is when he saw a person sitting there. To his shock and horror, the person was him, an older version of him with one arm, as Naruto didn't quite understand what was going on. It was then the older version explained that he was him from the future, and about how they failed, and about how nothing helped, and about how they failed in the end to bring back Sasuke, and he lost his arm as well, in the process. But he had sent his mind back into the past, so that he could prevent that from happening. Naruto told him that he can bond with him, allowing him to stop all this from happening. In order to save his friends, younger Naruto gave in to this. Zetsu was watching as Naruto died. A big waste, as Obito would not be happy about this. That is when White Zetsu was literally torn from him. As he saw Naruto with red hair, he was confused. Naruto formed a Senshurken and plunged it right into Zetsu, slaughtering him. He then started cackling like a maniac. He did not actually tell the truth to young Naruto. This person was nuts. What he said he was, or who he said he was, well, he was Naruto, but not the Naruto that younger Naruto thought he was. So with that at Konoha, as Tsunade was angry, she wanted to rip Sasuke apart with her bare hands. He had fled to Orochimaru, but he had killed Naruto. They had to keep that secret. After much fuss, Tsunade had to agree. She had to remember that she was Hokage, and she had to protect everyone here, not just one person, but she was still. She didn't like it that Naruto was gone, as Jiraiya was able to keep his composure, but he seemed saddened as hell. So with that, back with the Akatsuki, they were also talking amongst each other as Zetsu was not here. They thought that he was somewhere else. Madara was having some issue in Kiri, so he was there. As Nagato wasn't sure where Zetsu was, the members bickered for a bit, as they spoke about Sasuke and what Zetsu had said was going on. If the Kyuubi Jinchuriki was truly dead, as Sasori was one to inform them that Sasuke had returned back to Orochimaru, covered in blood. It seems like he killed the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Well, this was bad because it would take a long while for it to be reformed. So with that, they just had to wait. Meanwhile, with Naruto, as he had grown, he looked to be around 17 to 18. As he arrived at the land of demons, as he absorbed the residue chakra from the Jubi. The Jubi had left behind spawns when it had first emerged, when it was killed as well. Those spawns had left behind and turned them strange, things that people call demon nowadays, such like the demon they call Moru, that the priestess had to seal away. As Naruto found the priestess, his eyes locked on her. Naruto broke her will. She became addicted to him like he was some sort of drug. Naruto spoke to Kurama before he was gone, as he revealed who he truly was. The tale that he told young Naruto was not exactly true. In actuality, something had snapped when Kaguya had killed Sasuke, as Sasuke had protected him. Kaguya had took his arm, and something had snapped as Sasuke gave him the last of his power. Obita gave Naruto a Sharingan to carry on and fight with it. And Sasuke's power had transformed its other eye into the Rinnegan. Something inside Naruto had snapped as he had absorbed all the chakra from the plant that surrounded all the planet. And he accidentally killed all humans. For years upon years, he tried to build humans, but he could not. He tried to use clones, but he was going crazy because they were not real. So he started research about how to come back in the past. This Naruto was the hatred that was inside of him when he was younger. The hatred of Yami, that other side with the red eyes that he had fought. When he wanted to control the Kyuubi's power, as this Naruto was a dark one, saying that he planned to do many things. As he wanted the other Kyuubi's power as well, he just craved them all. Maybe it was because he had absorbed the other ones and he had used a large amount of his power to get here. He craved the power of the Kyuubi's, and he would stop at nothing to get them. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought. If you guys can switch across the place for yourself. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we just jump on right into this, guys? Let it begin now. We begin this with a woman as she rubbed her neck with a sanitizer once again. No matter how much time she did this, she could feel the stench of his mouth. She had been brought here to help heal their leader. The lecherous old man bit her neck. His tongue licked her, and ever so often, his hands always move up and down to get a bit handsy. At least Zosue didn't let her get completely molested this time, because after she was done, he sent Karin back to her quarters to eat and sleep. You have work to do later, he had told her. They had arrived in the land of Demon late last night, and they would go deeper in the country to make some deals with them. No doubt she would be the display of what the hidden grass had to offer, to show the blessings that she could offer. Her power, though, were more of a curse than a blessing. All those healing abilities, yet she could not heal the bite mark she got after being drained. There were times that she thought that she would break free from the sentence that she was given when she was a child, that she would make it out of this hell that her life had become. In the dead of the night, these thoughts always came up. She never said them aloud though, because even when she slept, they watched over her. At least they did not try to ruin her sleep. Zosue had made it clear that the village healer was never to be disturbed while resting. After all, Karin was of great value to him, and given how good the hidden grass was at negotiations, it only made sense that he keep her healthy. He didn't even let her keep weapons inside, should she fall in despair. What her captor did not know was, she had attempted it once. Her wrists were slashed with a hidden blade she kept in her glasses. But just as soon as the slits appear, the blood dried in the wound closed up rather fast. She hated her blood, her lineage, her red hair. Everything about her that screamed Uzumaki, a cursed name. All of them were dead, so she was the only one left. She stared out in the clouds, as black clouds gathered in the sky, as she looked towards the red floating giant. The news that she heard about the red blood moon was right. It looked like someone took her here and turned it into a giant red bulb. The 16-year-old looked forward, as she just looked at the moon, as she remembered her mother telling her that there was a goddess that lived on the moon. How she listened to the prayers of kids and granted their wishes. Karin told her mother so much time that the goddess did not listen, that she prayed several times for them to leave this village, but it did not happen. That's when her mother told her that they were Uzumaki. They were special. Her wishes will only be granted when the red moon appear. The Uzumaki moon, she called it. She cried many nights, the countless full moons, to bring her mother back. It was later on in life she realized her mother had told her a children's fairy tale. She had stopped being a child the moment Zosue started to use her to heal the wounded and also using her as a negotiation tool for certain lords. After that, every time she saw a red moon, she realized how helpless and trapped she really was. Yet a part of her wished many times that it was true. She wished many times that she would just die already. Other times she wished her mother would return. Most of the time she wished for freedom, but none of that was happening anytime soon. With great contempt in her heart, she touched her neck, the spot that she was washing. As she gripped it tightly, her crimson eyes looked at the bloody moon, with venom in her mind. I wish that pervert will die. I pray these stupid guards will die. Zosue, I hope you die in the worst possible way. The wind knocked against her window a bit. The cool breeze that was present all day was getting a bit sharper as the night went on. At least I'll get a good night's sleep. With those words, she faded into the darkness, but then Red took over. Karin gasped as she jumped from her bed, as she started to breathe hard. Her mind eye activated on its own. It saw something. Where did it come from? Why didn't I sense it before? Red. Outside the village. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They were spiraling their way into the village. All of them had the same chakra, tons of it. She started to breathe heavily at the amount of chakra she felt. She wasn't even sure if she could call that chakra at all. So big. Too much. It's way too much. Dark, menacing, and fast. They were inside the village already, spreading like wildfire. The villagers' chakra, they were disappearing. Some of them weakened, some of them completely vanished. Her hand started to shake, her heart felt like it was about to tear out of her chest and run away. She rushed to the door and banged her fist against it desperately. Open the door! We're under attack, she yelled. The door opened quickly as the guards looked at her with surprise. Everything looked so hazy to her. What the hell is wrong with you? Intruders in the village. 5 of them, she said. Her legs shook uncontrollably. They were getting closer. We need to leave, she said. Stop shouting at me, you bitch, the guard said. If this is one of your ruse to try and escape, then boom! A massive explosion went off. As the house shook, one of the guards rushed to the closest window. She couldn't breathe. It was here. Oi! What the hell is going on? The other guard said. Fire outside. Someone broke in the compound. The guards gripped her hand as they rushed to Zosue's room. It was empty. Karin desperately looked for a signal he will get out of here. He needed her use. Where is he? She closed her eyes as she calmed herself down. It became dark. Then everything turned red once again as she felt something in her gut. It wormed through her. It felt like a void. She couldn't tell it was getting hotter and hotter. Her mind could only focus on that absurd amount of chakra. What seemed like 5 to her previously now felt like a blanket swallowing the entire village. As far as her eye could gaze, all it saw was a world, painted red. It's everywhere. The sound of something crashing caused her to see once again. Noises of arms being taken up invaded the air. Orders were being barked out. The sounds of men screaming were all over the area. Hey! Where's Lord Zosue? The guard shook her, but she couldn't sense him. The chakra around her was just too overwhelming. Listen close, you bitch, he said. If you don't, what the hell is that? The groan cracked open as some giant armor-suit men walked towards them. As they seemed to be made of stone, they were walking until they started to run towards them. What the hell are those things? One of the guards tried to kick the thing, but it would not even budge back. The stone soldier reached down and grabbed the guard leg and crushed it as the man screamed. The soldier brought him up and gripped his head and plucked it off like it was nothing. Blood sprayed everywhere as it threw the body aside as they started to march. Karin was dragged away. They were now on the run. She witnessed the man guarding the compound being stabbed, maimed, killed, ripped by the stone soldiers, who seemed invincible. For every one stone soldier that fell, 10 more guards lose their life. As they were running down a path of stairs leading towards the main village, a single stone soldier stood there. In his hand was the head of the village lord who had licked her and bit her in the neck. The fist closed and crushed the head. Oi, girl, the guard said as he pulled out his tanto. Lord Zosue was supposed to meet the village head. I don't see his body here, go and find him. Maybe he's in the village. What about you, she said. Get out of here before that thing comes get us. I'm doing this for Lord Zosue. Go, he yelled. As the guard moved forward and attacked the stone soldier, Karin was afraid to go by herself, but she ran. She ran as fast as possible. She got to the heart of the village. It was worse here. Everything was on fire. More stone soldiers run around, fighting against the defenses this village has. Screams of horror and anguish filled the air along with a swing of steel. She held her head and cried, running through the village streets. In between all of this, she still felt that chakra, that overwhelming mass of chakra looming over her. It's watching me, she thought. I need to hide from it. At the same time, she wanted to know where it came from. It was so hypnotizing. So much power. It was cruel, but it was just so much. It called out to her. It overwhelmed her entire senses. She needed to calm down. As she saw a house, it wasn't special. It looked broken, but there was no guards around it. She looked for a place to hide, but she realized the door was broken off. There were noises coming from the inside. As she heard screams and moans, the voice of a woman, she covered her mouth. Things like this happen a lot in invasions. Spoils of war, they call it. As she heard the woman scream, all then she could heard was a woman panting. She then heard the sound of wind in the room. And then a chuckle followed afterwards. Well, that's interesting. She felt a chill run down her spine as she felt the wind whisper once again. She dared not look inside. She reached for the blade that was hidden in her frames. As she held on to it shakily, as she gazed towards the window over to the side, she needed to get out of here. The more she stayed here, the more she felt strange. Her senses, something was happening to her. The blood moon. It looked down at her with indifference. Fire raged as she felt it. Zosue. She found him. The man could barely walk as he collapsed on the ground. Stone soldiers surrounded him from all sides. Zosue, the man who ruined her life. The man who made her mother heal and heal and heal and heal until she couldn't go on anymore. He was crying. He was on his knees. His face in the dirt. Please. Please let me go, he begged. Karin clenched her fist. Her mother had said the same words so many times. I beg you. She said those words when he forced her to heal all those people, when she was on the brink of chakra exhaustion. Take a look around you, whatever the hell your name is. Does it look like I'm in the mood for a spearing? You can do better than that. She heard that voice. It was the same voice, the one she heard in the room a bit earlier. She wanted to run, but the voice was so transfixed. The chakra she felt, it was him. It pulled around him. It radiated outwards. There was no doubt about it. The stone soldiers parted as the man walked in between. All she could see from here was his red hair. His dark crimson red hair. Come on now, I'm talking to you. The least you can do is look me in the eye. Or maybe I should get my slaves. Yeah, I'll go with slaves. Look me in the eye before my slaves turn you into a skewer thing. Zosue looked up as she still heard his whimpers. Please, I beg you. Let me live, he said. Why the hell would I do that? I killed everyone in this village. Well, except the finer women and the young children. I need them for something, the man says. He looked around. I have a woman here with me in the village. She's a Uzumaki. I can give her to you. Karin's heart sunk as she heard that. The man started to laugh though. Interesting. Where is she? I don't know. She was in the village leader compound. I can go. Not gonna happen, the man said, cutting him off. I burned that place to the ground. No woman there. Well, no woman there actually. Not anymore. Please, I can find her. Zosue begged. Well, when you put it like that. He thrust his hand out and grabbed Zosue by the face. Zosue screamed as his skin melted off. His bones turned to dust. No, the red-headed man said. Well, at least he made me a good offer, didn't he, Karin? Karin's eyes widened as he looked towards her. He had two different color eyes. She ran, but she bumped right into him. She swung her hand as he caught it. The next thing she knew, she was teleported somewhere. They were in a large, open courtyard. A giant white tree was behind him with hundreds of cocoons hanging from it. He took the blade away from her. That's a rather nasty thing you tried to do to me, Karin. Uzumakis. Don't kill other Uzumakis, he told her. She yanked her hand free and turned to run. But as she stopped outside, she saw all the women. Naked. With his clones. They were all having sex like there was no tomorrow. Dozens of them. At least 3 of them with one woman. She felt him grab her shoulder as he forced her to look into his eyes. It was then that something felt odd. That hotness that she was feeling. As she couldn't stand that, she fell to her knees. She didn't know what this overwhelming sensation was, but she couldn't stand up to it. Damn girl, I just gave you a small dose. I didn't know my chakra would be so potent to you. Oh right, I forgot. You're like an ultra sensor, aren't you? Whew. Who are you? She said. Me? As he reached down and cuffed her chin. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. As he claimed her lips. Uzumaki, she thought. As he undid her clothing. Uzumaki, she thought, as she couldn't fight back. Instead of fighting back though, she felt herself leaning in towards him. She felt her very soul, her essence, just accepted everything as she gave herself over to him. Time skip. He eagerly watched as the kunais flew towards the boy. With grace, the boy spun around. With inferior eyes, it would seem like everything happened in a blur. But Orochimaru saw everything. He swerved when the first wave came. His neck, his torso, his limbs, he moved. He evaded all of the weapons that were thrown towards him, twisting and bending like a snake in mid-air. As he deflected the ones that he could not dodge, it then stopped as the rain of weapons died down. As he stood in the center, his eyes closed, before they slowly opened. Orochimaru felt something inside him shiver as he saw those two lovely red eyes. His soul giggled at the sight of the Sharingan. Sasuke walked towards him and he had to admire the young Uchiha resolve. 9 months has passed since the young Uchiha arrived, covered in blood, and each passing day made Orochimaru realize what a grand prospect he made in choosing Sasuke as his next host. It was a real shame that destiny stopped him from getting Uchiha body earlier, but time was something no one could win against. You're interfering in my training, the boy told him. He has grown taller in these past few months, stronger too, more well versed with the curse's power. Hardly, my dear boy. As Sasuke shot him a look of annoyance, I was simply admiring your training session. You can do that through the camera, Sasuke said. I prefer to look at such a handiwork with more intimate distance, Orochimaru said. Everything you say, man, should disgust me, Sasuke said. Despite his vengeance, Sasuke was still a boy, and sometimes he forgot that when he talked. What do you want? Sasuke asked. Come with me. You've been growing stronger since you arrived. Quickly too. Not strong enough. I have yet to beat you one-on-one. With time, experience, and more training, you will get there soon, Sasuke. Orochimaru reassured him. He was surprised the boy challenged him so quickly after arriving. But he'd want to gauge Sasuke's powers, and he did not disappoint. However, Sasuke, with skills far too good for someone his age, was still not ready to face someone like him one-on-one just yet, let alone Itachi Uchiha. That helped him rub it in the boy's face, and that gave him more incentive for him to listen and do as instructed so he could gain the power to kill Itachi. Orochimaru knew the largest struggle would be after he helped him achieve his power, but he had a plan for that as well. They arrived towards the main room, as Sasuke saw Kabuto at the decks, writing something. Kabuto? Sasuke, Kabuto said their greeting. And how's your training going? Great as usual, I will presume. The shuriken. They need to be shot faster. Well, sadly those things can't go any faster. They have their limits. Perhaps you should slow down a bit, said Kabuto. Sasuke didn't like that. As he turned towards Orochimaru. You better have a good reason for dragging me out of training, he said. I do. In fact, I dare say that you'll be delighted after a fine note. Kabuto, if you will. Kabuto went to the head table and removed the cloth. Sasuke's eyes focused on the object that was in front of him. Something specially crafted for the Uchiha, a tad bit larger than the others. A black hilt and scabbard as the boy moved towards it. Sasuke picked it up as he unsheathed the blade and swung it around, testing it. That Chokito was made with you in mind, Sasuke, Orochimaru said, as the boy slashed at the air. The steel was forged from chakra-inducing metal. Your former teacher Kakashi was quite adept in infusing lightning into his weapons. I'm sure that you can go far beyond that. Sasuke spun on his heel. He aimed the blade towards Orochimaru's throat. Kabuto of course blocked it with his kunai. I will need more time to practice with this. Why of course, Orochimaru said that smile, as he didn't even move an inch. More determined than ever, he watched Sasuke leave. He's quite excited, isn't he? We all have our goals in life and we react to them in our own way, Lord Orochimaru. As Kabuto looked at his kunai that he used, the kunai was chipped. He had no intention of stopping. He put lethal force into it. I know that you would have dodged it, but he made me concerned. As you should be, Orochimaru said. The boy's unstable, whether he wants to admit it or not. I can't blame him after what he went through. It is surely leaving scars in his mind. Besides, Kabuto, I thought, you always had an interest in such people. I do. but not at the cost of your life, my lord. Oh, Kabuto, you're a gem amongst rogues. Kabuto smiled. I try, my lord. Speaking of gems, Gurren has not returned yet. The crystal user, another soul lost in the semblance of the world, trying to find some symbol of peace in this world, her own symbol of peace. Apparently she find it under his guidance, and that young boy who she babied all day and night. For the life of him, Orochimaru could not figure out what went on inside of her head. It's been over 2 weeks since she left, and while she was far from the most important piece he had, he still has uses for her. She was supposed to arrive by this morning, correct? Yes, said Kabuto. Strange. She's never late, if anything. She arrived earlier. Perhaps they're making a stop on the road. That boy Yukimaru often fall ill. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about though. Yes, my lord. And just like that, Orochimaru went back to his own quarters. As Kabuto sat back down, returning back to what he was doing, as he had a lot to do, as Orochimaru returned back to his room. Once he got his arms back, there was a lot that he needed to do. Time skip. A gift. That is what she was told when she had first joined Orochimaru. Her village that mocked her, hated her, and berated her for her abilities had been burned to the ground by the Sannin. How easily he had taken her in. He trained her, he raised her, he groomed her to be his next vessel. He told her that she was gifted. Unfortunately though, time was not on her side, because Sasuke Uchiha arrived to be the next, the one her master wanted. Gurren did not complain though. She knew her place. When she was sent on this mission, she expected things to go smoothly as always. She's taking Yukimaru and Gozu with her. She didn't trust Kabuto one bit, especially on Yukimaru. Gozu was there, simply as backup in case something went wrong. And things had gone terribly wrong. The village outpost they arrived at was under attack. An entire army was here. Men of large, tall, strange structures. All of them wore a similar armor, as they had massive stone blades, crossbows, axes, scythes, lances. They killed every living being in sight except for the women and children. The moment she noticed the number, she decided to hightail it out of there. Even as powerful as she might be, going against that many foes, with Yukimaru alone especially, that was just an unnecessary risk. Unfortunate things didn't go as planned, as she heard the sounds rushing towards them, forcing her to release her crystal release bloodline. Her crystal stabbed them in vital points, yet not one drop of blood. No pain, nothing came from them. The bodies rose from the ground, missing an arm or a leg. They walked and they crawled dangerously, armed. They did not back down, they did not wince in pain, they just kept on moving. Thankfully, Gozu and Yukimaru had already got further ahead as she moved, but two of them were still on her tail. One of them was carrying a giant hammer. As he attempted to take off her head in a few tries, the other one had a spear, and he was rather fast. It was annoying. Suddenly, the larger one with the hammer leaped. As he was coming down to flatten her, she flashed through hands and slammed her hand down. A gigantic spear ripped through the ground and stabbed right through him. The one with the spear looked towards her before he pulled his hand back and tossed the giant stone spear towards her. It came so fast he twisted and dodged, but he appeared in front of her as she crossed her arms. He slammed his foot right in her guard. As she flipped back, he rushed towards her again. This time she dodged a punch as she grabbed his arm, as she used his own momentum to pull him and throw him. She then flashed through hand sign, crystal release, tearing crystal falling dragon. She turned the broken branch into a magnificent pink dragon made from crystals. The dragon moved and bite down on his head. She quickly formed a crystal jade blade in her arm before she moved, as she slammed it against his throat, trying to take his head clean off. As she kept on ripping and ripping and ripping until his headpiece fell off. She breathed heavily for a moment, as she turned her head towards the other one that she impaled. They were dead. Well, she wouldn't call them dead. They were like her dragons. They were chakra constructs. Given how much of them, she wondered how many people performed this jutsu. Well, she could ask those questions later first. She needed to catch up with Yukimaru and Gozu. She turned. Her senses went haywire as she ducked, a weapon whipping over her head. She flipped away as she turned. She turned to see another one. This one was much leaner, as it was wearing a strange mask. It wasn't alone though, another one, with a lion head, as he had a grey sword in his hand. Two more? You bastards, move in group or something. That's the point, a voice said, startling her. She turned, as she saw someone sitting on a tree branch. She didn't even sense anything. Who was this guy? His back leaned against the trunk as he narrowed his eyes towards her. He was wearing black overalls. He had something in his hand. A cup of instant ramen. He swirled the noodles as he took a mouthful. He looked at her while he ate. He was finished as he threw the cup to the side. He had an innocent smile on his face. However, his eyes, they unnerved her. The red iris with slits, and darkness surrounding it from all sides. His crimson hair was wild and spiky. His build was powerful and strong. He jumped off the branch. To her surprise, there wasn't even a single sound. It was like he was not even standing on the solid ground. No impact, nothing. He said, rubbing his chin as he looked towards the dead knights. Need to reinforce them against normal Jonins. They should have no problem. But I guess you're not normal, are you? Who the hell are you, Gorin asked. The two new knights did not move, they just looked at her. No, she had to worry about this guy as well. Just a guy trying to right a lot of wrongs that are going to be made in the future. Hey, take those two out of here. Remind me to put a voice function in all of you. And to fix the recovery time on you little shits. The larger knight with a tiger head moved forward as he sliced right through her crystal and picked up the knight as the other one picked up the other one, and they walked off with them. You know, this is the first time any of my soldiers fell. The few you took care of in particular were supposed to cause problems for a squad of Jonin. It seems I miscalculated a bit there. Thank you, he said. Who the hell are you, she said. The way he was just so calm did not sit well with her. Not to mention, he's been here the entire time. How did she not sense him? What the hell are those things? Oh, those guys. They're kind of my slave. But I like to call them the Inquisition. Never heard of them, she said. That's the appeal. No one ever expects the Uzumaki. Inquisition. But it has a nice ring to it, he said. Uzumaki? She gave him a closer look as she focused on his red hair. Now it made sense. I thought all of them were supposed to be dead. Hardly, he said, as he ran a hand through his hair. Uzumakis are rare and few, but that makes us even more special. Besides, you're more than me. I got one back at my place. There's one with Uzumaki blood within Konoha. And I'm pretty sure there are more there, who got a bit of Uzumaki in them, he said. As much as I love to talk, I have things to do, and places to be. Yes. On your way then, he said. She was surprised. It showed by her face. You seem surprised. I thought, never mind, she said, as she formed her crystal ball, so she could see where Gozu and Yukimaru had reached. The image flashed to life. Her eyes went wide when she saw Gozu dead. There was someone else there with him, with red hair, dressed in all black. The person turned and looked back at her through the orb, and smiled at her. Something inside of Gorin snapped as she launched towards the Uzumaki. She created her crystal blade instantly as she moved towards him and swung it right towards his throat. But the moment it made contact, it shattered. He yawned. Whoa, I was letting you go and you decided to attack me. Dick move, he said. You son of a bitch, she rushed towards him, vengeance in her eyes, as she swung a fist and slammed it into his face. Pain coursed through her hand. It's broken, she said to herself. Now why would you do something like that? He stepped closer as she jumped back, trying to kick him right in the head. But he grabbed her ankle as he held onto it. Not only did you attack me, but you also called my mother a bitch. You killed them, she yelled. You killed Gozu and Yukimaru. Who? He said, raising an eyebrow. Oh, those two, they were with you. To be quite fair, the man attacked me first. The boy is just fine, he fainted when the man died. Gorin didn't believe him. You're lying, she said. Well then, said Naruto. How about a demonstration? She felt the wind picked up and suddenly, there was another one of him. As he held up someone, it was Yukimaru. Her broken hand reached out. Yukimaru! Yukimaru, it's me, she said. He's unconscious. With those words, she was pinned down to the ground. He can't hear you even if you scream. Do you understand? She was about to scream at him, but he gripped her throat. He leaned down towards her ears, with a wicked smile on his face. If you want the boy to live, you do as I say. If you don't, little Yukimaru dies. As her entire world darkened, the next thing she knew, she was in a bed. As she was confused, she looked around. There was another woman there. Young, pretty, and rather curvy. She had black hair and green eyes. As she was barely wearing anything, she looked at Gurren and smiled. My master has been waiting for you to get up. Master? Said Gurren. Yes, Master Uzumaki has been waiting for quite some time. The woman cheek reddened as she said that. It is always so amazing to have someone new added into his collection. Collection? Gurren grit her teeth as every fiber of her being was buzzing with rage. Screw you and your master. Oh, you will, the girl said. Maybe. Master will even permit me to join as well. Gurren were beyond words now. They were messed up in the head. She didn't remember. There was a child. Where is he? She said. Oh, he's resting. He's being attended to, apparently. There's something that he needs from the boy. Make sure not to disappoint my master if you want him to be safe. Gurren wanted to choke this woman out, but she could not. Yukimaru's life was at stake right now. And given how this girl was dressed, it seems she would have to service Uzumaki. Part of her wanted to throw up at the thought. To be used like this, it made her angry. Before she could say anything, the girl pointed towards a set of clothing on the bed. You'll be wearing those once you step out. She turned and opened the door. Gurren's disgust grew further, but she didn't have a choice in this. She had to get Yukimaru out of here. As she also remembered when her fist made contact with Uzumaki's face. It was like she was hitting solid steel. Even her crystal blade could not pierce him. She had no idea how strong he actually was. She then checked her hand. It was completely fine. What the hell? She rolled her fist around, and she stretched her fingers. What did he do? She eyed the clothing. She would ask those questions later on. As she thought about what was ahead, discarding her clothing, she took the cloth. As she placed it on, it was like a rather thin bikini. As it did not leave any to the imagination, she felt embarrassed and angry at the same time to be brought down to this level. She opened the door to find a large, extended hallway. Outside their door was two tall knights. Their silver armor was polished rather well. One of them nodded at her mechanically as he started to walk, as she followed behind him. So all of you are just puppets, serving him like mindless sheep. It said nothing as he stopped in front of the third door on the left. He opened the door and just looked at her. Speak careful to the Lord, lest you crave death for the child harlot. The voice that came from the thing, it scared her. It was so empty and hollow. It's been a long while since she was afraid, and it took a lot to scare her, but now she was downright terrified. She walked inside and squinted. It was much brighter inside. She noticed a bed in the middle. It was large enough for about 5 people. The fragrance of jasmine was in the air. There he was on the couch, one leg over the other, guzzling down a bottle of sake. Not a drop spilled from his lips. As he finished it and burped, as he placed it on the table, the room just seemed to give him an extra glow. This man would be the envy of all men. His muscles were chiseled and just well defined, like he was crafted by some god. No doubt he worked tirelessly on them for years. The only thing he was wearing was some shorts. He smiled as he patted right beside him. Her fist shook angrily as she walked over. He uncorked another bottle and poured some sake for her. She refused. This is really good sake, you know, he said, as he waved the saucer around. No, she said. You're lost. I know someone who would have punched you on principle for refusing such a fine thing. His hand reached around her as he started to caress her hip. Where is Yukimaru? She asked. He's resting. He praised you a lot, Gurren. I can tell. He knew her name. He must have tortured the boy. If you did anything to him, I will do nothing, he said, cutting her off. As she found herself looking into his eyes. You ran your little jewel blade against my throat, and I did not even defend myself. So tell me, Gorin, just what the hell you think you can do to me? Gorin had no answer. That's right. Absolutely nothing. Also, how's the hand? Still a bit stiff, she said. As she realized her powers are gifts. He called them nothing. Oh, that's not the only thing stiff. If you know what I mean, he said, as he wiggled his eyebrows. As if this whole thing was a joke. As if she was nothing more than a joke. Why, she said. Why are you doing this? For fun. She wondered if he was joking or not, but he didn't sound like he was joking. Besides, look at you, said Naruto. Why wouldn't I want a piece of that? Speaking of which, his hand went down as she squirmed a bit under his touch. After we do this, Gorin said, as she knew that she could not overpower him. She knew she had no choice. You're just gonna let us go, right? That will be your choice, he said. After you do what I ask, of course. And what the hell is that? 200 times, he said. What? She said, confused. 200 times I will use you. And after 200 times of giving yourself over to me, then you can make your call. She grew more disgusted as he spoke, but she started to get rather hot. But she would not back down. It's not like this was the first time she used her butt to get what she wanted. And she would not let this guy control her. Once she was down, she was gonna take Yukimaru and get the hell out of here. 200 times, said Naruto. Now you're at 0, he said. The quicker you move, the quicker you can leave, he said. Well, if you want, he said to her. Gorin swallowed thickly. She can do this. She would not fail. Time skip. Gorin felt like all the life had been drained from her very soul, from her being, as she lay there unmoving. Now that's 1. She glanced up as she looked towards him. 199 left to go. She was speechless. Time skip. It was empty. The last bottle. He had been drinking a lot these days. As he made his way, the person that was moving from tree branch was none other than Jiraiya of the Sannin. As he was making his way towards the Netsuko village that was a few miles away, as he was climbing up a cliff after he jumped from the trees, Tsunade had sent him out to strike up a alliance with the village, seeing that Leaf was on a bit of a shortage manpower. Plus he needs to let an old acquaintance know that deal that he struck some time ago will be left unfulfilled. But as he arrived a distance away, something was off. There should be some settlement of Kunoichi out here. The whole thing felt off as he continued to move. Jiraiya arrived towards the gates. What the hell? The gates were open, and he could not see a single person. Usually, it will be filled with the most exotic women that he's ever seen in his life. As he ran and jumped from their blades, but now, the place was just empty. He started to scout through buildings after buildings, looking for some people. He looked inside as he saw broken doors, furniture, signs of conflict. The bridges were intact as he made his way across them. He prepared himself just in case for an ambush, but none came. As he arrived towards the next cliff, he found some people. Well, what was left of them anyway? Skeletons with rotten flesh, and maggots feeding on them. Despite being shot, the shinobi inside him carried more further, as he discovered more and more corpses, some thrown here and there, limbs, head, torsos. Yet the numbers did not match up one bit. He was sure there was a lot more of them. The boys, who usually born here, usually got drafted to different nations. Most of them end up in Iron Country, and the females remain behind. As he glanced around, just who the hell would do something like this? A poof of smoke appeared beside him. A reddish toad. Lord Jiraiya, you've been summoned and... What the hell? Yamakichi looked around. What happened here? He said. I have no idea, said Jiraiya. Where the hell are we? He asked. Netsuko village, said Jiraiya. I came here to speak about the alliance with them. Then I found the whole place like this. The whole place? Who the hell wiped out the entire village? I've been asking the same thing, said Jiraiya as he rubbed his eyes. Anyway, you said something. Right. The great toes have summoned you. Huh? Said Jiraiya. As he held on to Yamakichi, they disappeared from the gruesome sight to a more calm, peaceful one. Mount Miyaboku, probably the safest place on the planet. Unfortunately, he didn't have much time to admire the scenery. He needed to get back to Tsunade and inform her of what happened at Netsuko village. Things in the Leaf had changed a bit since the incident. Danzo had gained a bit of favoritism. His unit worked closer with the Hokage than ever before, not since the days of the Second War. Jiraiya made his way as he found the two great Toad Sage waiting for him, Lord Fukazaku, Lady Shima. They were rather serious. He bowed his head. I don't mean to seem rude, but I'm in a rush, he said. Be that as it may, Jiraiya boy. They walked towards the temple as he followed behind them. There are things that you need to be made aware of. The Great Toad Sage requested your presence. That's rare, thought Jiraiya. Last time he spoke with the old geezer was when Minato died. Before that, it was when news of Nagato's death came. Looks like I'm cursed. Or perhaps I'm their curse. As he thought about his latest failure, another one that he failed to save. As he stood in front of Gamaru, the great geezer, older Toad, he was asleep as usual. A shout from Shima woke him up as he looked around. He focused on Jiraiya. Ah, Jiraiya, look how much have you grown up. Jiraiya laughed a bit at the way he was greeted. The Toad always say the same thing. Well, it has been over 17 years, give or take. Yes, I think so. I heard the tragic news, boy. You have my condolences. Yeah, said Jiraiya with a sigh. I guess you could say I'm a curse to all my students. Nonsense, said Yamamaru. We go. When it is our time to go, whether you and I like it or not, one day we will pass on. You make it sound like it's fated. Surely not everything is set in stone, said Jiraiya. Fate is strange, my boy. Sometimes things happen. One man rises to seek power. Another man rises to stop him. Peace crumble. War rages. Then peace arrives until it corrodes. What are you saying? That we can never find peace? Ask Jiraiya. I'm saying it's a part of the cycle. Both you and I, we seek to break it. Jiraiya sighed. You called me for something, he said. Yes. I had a dream, said Gamamaru. A dream of a mischievous boy. Blue eyes filled with joy, until they grew dim and dark. Tears fell from them, until they became bloody. After that, all I could see was red. Jiraiya closed his eyes, he lowered his head. It's godson. One more regret. It's about Naruto, he said. I've never seen the boy, but from what Gemabunta told me, he was blue-eyed. He was a son of your former student, correct? Jiraiya nodded. Strange. I read his name in our scroll. Uzumaki. Bizarre that he did not take the name of his father. Well, usually children end up taking clan names as their surnames if they're born from them or marry into them. Jiraiya felt guilt. That and we never let him know who his father was. Perhaps the boy would have turned out different if he was told who his father was. Maybe, said Jiraiya. So, was that all you called me for? Yes, but you must know, things have changed, and I can feel something sinister at foot. I cannot exactly tell what it is. Hearing that, Jiraiya became suspicious. He thought about the village that he just visited, as he wondered if this had anything to do with it. He wondered if they were connected, and he wondered what was going on. Keep your guard up, Jiraiya boy. You will never know what will happen. He then closed his eyes sleepily. Yeah, said Jiraiya mostly to himself as he walked out of the shrine. The two toads were outside waiting on him, but he was sure they already knew everything. You seem depressed, Jiraiya boy. Shima leaned on his shoulder. You want to take a snack before you leave? He paled at the thought of eating her food. I'm good, thanks. Still, said Lord Fukazaku, you should not feel so morose. I do not know the pain you're going through, but you should pull yourself together. The path you walk cannot be traveled this way. I know, said Jiraiya. He wished that he was a child again. Back then things were so simpler. He just fooled around and never feel a burden of looking for peace in this world. Maybe it's pointless, maybe. I'm just a fool, he thought. With those words he remembered the blonde boy looking up at him. More foolish than he was, but he had guts to never give up. He was insulting his memory if he ever gave up. Say, master, said Jiraiya. Yes, said Fukazaku. Is there any way of me tweaking Sage Mode, Jiraiya asked. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on that bell notification, say post, stay by, I'm off, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.